Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So a couple of months ago, I made a video called "Is there a right or wrong way to read a poem?" And in it, I kind of shared my opinion on the subjective experience of reading poetry and how there's like an infinite number of interpretations that go along with every poem, and that basically there's no right or wrong way to read. But there are some things that you can do to kind of expand your experience and expand your interpretations of a poem. And I recently started reading The Poetry Pharmacy by William Sieghart, Tried and True Prescriptions for the Heart, Mind, and Soul. And I have been really enjoying it. And one of the things I enjoy most about the collection is its diverse selection of poetry, but also how it really emphasizes the subjective experience of your reading, and it basically pairs your subjective experience with a poem it thinks will resonate with you in that certain state of mind. And I think that it's a really interesting project that this collection has taken up. In the introduction of this collection, there is a really great section called How to Read a Poem. And I thought I would just read this to you because it's much more eloquent than my video on the topic. It's just a very well put description of how to read a poem. So I thought I would just read that to you. Let me know what you think in the comments. And yeah. How to Read a Poem by William Sieghart. People are always telling me that they worry about their ability to read a poem. They don't really know how to. It's almost as though when they're faced with a poem, they're instantly intimidated, even though of course they can read and write like the best of us. When I'm asked for tips, I always give the same advice. Don't read the poem like you would a newspaper or a novel. Read it almost like a prayer. Say it aloud in your head as if you're speaking to somebody else, somebody interested, who makes you want to perform it properly. Or, of course, read it truly out loud if you want to, and if you're not on the bus. Either way, it's reading aloud that will properly allow you to hear it, that will make you understand the rhythms, the cadences, and musicality of the words and phrases. When people tell me they don't understand poetry, I have another recommendation. I tell them to read the same poem night after night. Keep it by your bed and read it before you switch out the lights. Read it 5 nights in a row, and you'll find you discover a totally new flavor and feeling from it every time. How you experience a poem depends on your own inner rhythms, what you've been through, and what your mood is that day. But more than that, a really good poem is layered. It uncovers itself bit by bit by bit. Never finished, but always rewarding. That's why the joy of a really concise and brilliant poem is that you get more out of it every time. Read the poems in this book however you like. Keep them in your desk drawer for when you feel shaky, or memorize them so you always have them on hand. Read them in the bath until the pages are crinkled beyond repair. But however this book works for you, remember that no poem deserves only a single visit. Come back, try again, approach them in a new frame of mind or with a new openness. If you persevere, you may be surprised at how many new friends you make. So that was How to Read a Poem by William Sieghart. I think that's a brilliant, brilliant way of putting it, of framing the whole situation to anyone who feels intimidated by poetry. I really agree that any poem, any really good poem deserves to be read multiple times throughout multiple phases in your life, perhaps. And that every single time you read a poem, you will get a different feeling off of it depending on what you've been going through. And that's why this collection especially is so interesting, because you're gonna get so many different things out of it. So I just wanted to share that with you. I hope that was useful for anyone who still kind of feels intimidated by poetry. My poetry reading series is intended to kind of make poetry a bit more accessible, and so that we can have discussions in the comments. Anyway, thank you so much for watching and listening and participating in the discussions in the poetry series. I really appreciate your input, and I will see you soon in another video. Bye.